forbidden and banned, the bane of bureaucrats, exposing mainstream media's weapons of mass distraction.
Flying under the radar and dropping truth bombs on tyranny.
It's Liberty Now. Hello and welcome to Liberty Now, the podcast for discerning minds and common sense. We'll get to the news behind the headlines and talk about what's really going on in the world. And we'll be covering a wide variety of subjects, as many of my longtime listeners will know. Everything from current events and headlines, philosophy, love reading books and talking about those, environmental and physical health, geopolitics, and more. And that brings me to today's guest, Matthew Lesko, who is probably for some of you, at least from the U.S., a pretty well-known personality and definitely one of the most colorful and interesting personalities I've interviewed on this podcast. And we're going to be talking a bit about, what he does for a living, but also about, small business in the United States, which is something I'm really passionate about. So, Matthew, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much. No, New Zealand, I've never been there.
Yeah, well,
I'd love to get down there. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so you're saying you were in the Navy?
Yeah, 3 years, 2 months, and 9 days. That was the draft back to the 70s.
That's funny. I was like 4 years, 3 months, and 7 days. I
remember they stamped it on my papers coming out. But it was the draft, and I couldn't get into grad school or anything. Just got out of college, undergraduate, and I took the SATs or LSAT. Maybe I'll go to law school. My grades were like 2 above plant life or something. I couldn't get in there. But I was worried about, I'm also not a camper. So the draft just, sleeping in the jungles just didn't appeal to me. So
yeah. So did you go to Vietnam?
Yeah, but I was a ship driver, so
okay,
and so I had clean sheets every night.
Oh yeah. I started out as a bosun mate, and then
cool.
got really tired of that, and applied for divers, and I got into dive school.
Ooh,
and it
really?
wasn't so bad after that.
Yeah, but that's fun stuff.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
it was. But still, I think just too much of an entrepreneur in me. I've always been a little bit more independent minded, and it's hard for me to go along just to get along with people that are above me in rank only by time and service, and not based on any merit. What interested me in talking to you was about small business.
Uh-huh.
I'm a huge advocate of small business, and I wanted to get your thoughts. I think you would also be of a similar mind.
Yes.
What do you think about small businesses in the U.S.?
That's what I am, and I always will be.
Right.
I always want it, and I, as you're talking about it, I'm thinking, why do I do this? My sister is too. My father was. I mean, he was his father came over from Czechoslovakia to work in the coal mines.
Wow.
So his generation, and both my mother was the same way as her father. So I'm a coal miner's grandson.
Oh, cool. Wow.
I never thought about that till recently, I think, with the immigrant stuff or whatever.
Yeah, well, you came by it honestly.
And he had a small business. And I worked in that factory that manufactured baby clothes. I hated every second of it. It was a smallish kind of factory. But at 8th grade, I was like slave labor or something.
Wow. Well, it's in the family, so it doesn't count, right?
Right. Exactly. And I always thought, oh, God, this is dreadful. Yeah, and I always thought some kind of little bit. And back then, I thought, well, I like clothes or something. Maybe I have a little men's store or something. But I went away to school in Milwaukee. And I got a business degree, but barely. I was on and off probation. I hated school. I just got through by the skin of my teeth. But I always wanted to know how to make my own money, not report to anybody. I mean, I'd work for somebody for 6 months and start calling everybody an asshole that's above me.
And that's why you didn't stay in the Navy so long, eh?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that would have been hard. Oh, I remember I signed up. I wanted to go and have them teach me how to fly planes. I said, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And the recruiter said, no, go to OCS first. Because if you sign up to fly, it's another year and a half. And so I remember getting on the bus, going to OCS, getting my foot off the bus on OCS, and hit like a ton of bricks. All these, sergeants or whatever they call them, just telling you what to do, what to breathe, what to eat. Oh man, I want out of this place as soon as possible. Yeah. And I knew I didn't want to last another year and a half. Yeah. And
I remember counting the days. Once I got below 4 digits, I was like marking every day off on the calendar. I'm a triple-digit midget. I was so excited.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff you're talking about, I mean, as a small business, I mean, to me, I just hated being told what to do. I think that's the biggest thing I have. Yeah. I mean, I just rebel against anybody trying to make me do something other than what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely your own man. And it's funny, like I knew right away who you were when we connected. Right? I was like, oh yeah, I used to see your TV commercials all the time. And you've been out there for doing this for a while. I guess I would call you kind of a crusader for government grants.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't care. I mean, I'm just trying to help people get a better life, whether it's starting a business or getting out of debt or whatever, and trying to show you, I don't care if they're government grants or just stuff that is free to do what you want to do in life. See, I see these as free tools for you to do in life what, liberty, to get out of it. People go to Google to do something. I want to start a business. I want to do this. I need a degree. I need a skill. I have debt. So whatever. And they go to Google, and all they find are people that are going to help you if you have money.
Right. Right.
It is. But nobody tells you about the stuff that's out there for free, that give money, not take your money to help you. They give money to help you.
Yeah.
And now, as far as our economy goes, at least here, I don't know what your country's like, but a third of everything in our economy is what I call is the community economy. This is a community where people help people, your church is that, nonprofit organizations is that, the government is that. They're not there to get money from you. Well, they have to, they raise money other ways, but to solve your problem, people with problems, they're there to take the money they have to help you solve your problems. And that's a third of everything in our economy. I mean, that's a huge goddamn thing.
Yeah, that's huge.
And people don't know that. The rich people know that.
Right.
And they use the hell out of it.
Yeah. Well, so tell me, how did you get involved in this in the first place?
By failing at everything else. You do. And that, I mean, I got, when I came back from the Navy, I got used GI money to go back, and they let me in college like fools, but I was ready to study then. I wasn't before then. So I got an MBA in computers back in the 70s. And after I got that, I started a computer company that failed. I had another company that failed. They're all failing. And they're the ones that I did it like they taught me in school. And I said, this is crazy, That's why then it took me 2 failing businesses to learn all that stuff they taught me in school.
Yeah. Well, most entrepreneurs and successful business people are the ones who are the independent thinkers, and they didn't get that from, university or from some book somewhere. They had the creativity to, carve their own way.
And that's what
which you certainly have.
Well, it was by necessity. I mean, I wanted my own business. I didn't have money. The money I found to start the businesses, they all failed. And so I had to change the game, to do something. And really, I believe, particularly if you don't have money, there's ways. You don't need money to start a business. You need a customer. That's all you need.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I like that.
And you're wasting your time becoming an LLC, becoming whatever it is. It's like you and Jim. If you do something, I mean, it's a service business, so you don't need money. You need a customer who needs training of some kind, right?
Right.
And that's all you need. And if you needed certificate and everything. I mean, it's going to take the government, at least in America, 3 years to find you if you're doing it illegally. Nobody's gonna, and by that time you'll be out of business anyway, so it wouldn't matter. So if you're still in business, by the time they find you, you could pay the $100 fine or whatever it is, if they say that you forgot. And that's why if you want to start a business, forget about anything else. Forget about your legal framework or anything else except where are you going to get a customer and what will they buy? And that's the key. You have a bright idea, but it doesn't matter how good your idea is. If nobody wants to pay for it, you're screwed. Yeah.
Right. Well, listen to that, entrepreneurs. That is the voice of wisdom.
There's too many ways now to do that, even with products. So a service is easy. You go, when I grew up, I tell you, maybe I'd have a men's store or something like that, a clothing store, and that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something like that. Now I could have a clothing store for $5 or $10 on Etsy, right?
Right. Yeah, you just outsource it, right?
Right.
Yeah, somebody's already doing it. They're just asking,
exactly.
You just direct customers their way. And
right. Yeah.
Affiliate marketing is
all that
become
so you're in business.
The internet.
And that's what's important. So it's so easy to start a business. The problem is people go to experts in Google to help them start a business. And they're either going to wrap a package for you that they says works. And what works for them is selling it to you, not selling it.
Right.
Right. And that's why for something like that, even that you could do if there was a package that somebody's selling, like me selling books. Now, what I did when I was selling books was I used to sell business-to-business books because I first was helping rich people do this stuff. Now, to sell to consumers didn't buy books. They bought books in the bookstores back then. So to get in bookstores, I didn't have money to fill bookstores with 100,000 books and try to sell them, and run people at bookstore. So I went to somebody found me and we got a little advance to do a book from a New York publisher, which flunking English in college. I mean, that was like Mars to me. I would have a book, with a New York publisher. And it did very well only because I did the marketing. They didn't give me enough money. What you have to do with publishers, you have to get a big advance. So then they're committed to marketing you. Otherwise, you're just stuff to throw against the wall and something sticks. So they give you $5,000 or something like that thing, and you write this book and maybe it'll work, maybe don't. They don't do anything more. So what I did is figured out, okay, you sell a book in this country by getting on television and talk shows and stuff like that. So I was a bit of a ham, and I give a lot of speeches, business-wise, and said, "Oh, that'd be fun," And that was always a dream, me being on like Today's Show or something. Not me, but so I picked out 2 small cities to do that, to try to get on TV shows or talk shows locally. Because back then there's so many local medias, like podcasts are big now, but there you had 10 radio stations, a half a dozen TV stations. So we picked some medium-sized town. I think it was Harrisburg, and I hired some kid in college. I said, call every media station, say we're going to come to town. You want to interview us about my book, and that worked. So I found out how to do that. Yeah, and so I kept doing that to get my sales up. But I was making just peanuts on the book because the publishers make all the money, the bookstores make all the money.
Right.
But then I started getting bigger advances. So as you get bigger advances, they're invested in you. They can't let you fail.
Right.
They give you $5,000. They don't care. Maybe they get lucky. But they give you $50,000, $100,000 or something like that. Ooh,
they're a little more committed then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I went through that thing. I still had to make, I thought if I was a New York Times bestseller, I'd be living on Park Avenue or something,
Right.
But no, with peanuts. So I said, well, I got to figure out how to get on TV and radio, but I don't know how to get in bookstores. So I figure I can't publish 100,000 copies and get them in bookstores and then get on TV. So I said, I'll do an 800 number. So I'd go on talk shows, give my 800 number. I get the money before you get the book. See, they call it up, see? So they're that solves the cash flow problem.
Nice.
And back then that was easy to do. It's harder to do now, but you can do that on the internet to do. And then I said, okay, but that was limited because you can only do Oprah so many times and things like that. All the big stuff. So to get bigger, it's really buying advertising. But buying advertising, that's again, I don't know what works. I don't know what doesn't work. I don't have a lot of money to blow, this money. Plus to do a TV commercial costs $100,000 or something like that, to do a commercial back in those days. And so I said, I can't buy ads. You go to a TV station and they tell you what it's worth, to them, but not to you. You have no idea what it's worth to you. So so it's $10,000 a minute or whatever. I don't know if that's worth it to me. So what I found out what I could do is I said, okay, I'll tell you what, here's my commercial. Now, if nobody buys any time on your station, use my commercial and I'll give you half the money.
Right.
I figure like a bookstore. If I had a bookstore, I had to give the bookstore half the money.
That's genius. So you're doing a revenue share with the local affiliate. It's a win-win.
Right, exactly. And a risk-free. That's the important thing for small businesses. Because you get the marketing salesman, oh, you're going to make $1 million. And when they send me that, okay, I'll split it with you.
Right. Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I think a lot of people, entrepreneurs may not realize if they haven't looked into radio advertising or TV advertising. They do have blocks of time that just aren't sold. And so they'll have to throw in their own things, or they'll throw in freebies for their existing advertisers as sort of an incentive to get them to continue.
Or back then it was a PSA, Smokey.
Or a PSA, yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
I don't see as many of those these days.
I know, I don't either. Well, I think that business is so different. I haven't even tried it again for 10, 20 years or something.
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of, I guess, the backstory and how you became the question guy. And Ask Mark. So you got some TV presence. You've been selling some books. You've got people, calling you. What is the biggest thing people are looking for? What are you providing for people?
Well, it's changed. I used to give you a book, okay, you interested in this stuff, here's a book. And nobody read books. Nobody reads books, but especially directories. And that was a problem. I mean, people got excited about doing it, but it's sort of like diet books. I figure everybody buys a diet book and we all get fatter. We're actually the fattest country in the world. There's more people, that are obese or overweight in our country, I think, than any other developed country.
True.
And it's just, and we sell more diet books every year, right? But now, and it took me, when people stopped buying books, I was out of business, theoretically.
Right.
But I knew the information was good. I knew it was important, and I had to get it to people. But what I didn't know is how they would buy it.
Right, how to get it to them.
Yeah, and what do they want? And so is it ebooks? Is it download books? Is it, videos? Is it whatever? And after many, many years of screwing around with that, I finally found into what people like, it seems nowadays, is a community where a community to go for help and other people, they're helping them. Like right now we have a community, like I think about 12,000 people now, and I'm able to do it like for $20. When I first thought this, I didn't want to, when I was kicking around this idea, I was talking to experts and everything. Oh yeah, you have to charge $500 a month, $1,000 a month. People pay that for figuring out how to get money, but you only get rich people. So I don't want to. I didn't want to help rich people anymore. I want to help the people who really need this stuff. So I wanted to do it for $20, and nobody said I could make money. But at $20, we do, and we give one-on-one help, but the members give a lot of the help. The members, once they get money, they're available free for you to ask them questions, how they did it or whatever, instead of having a clown like me tell you how to do something. And I haven't applied to a grant in I don't know how many years. But you talk to somebody who just found out about this stuff, and is doing it to themselves, they're, I think, a
Yeah.
better.
So your model reminds me a little bit of Joe Polish's Genius Network. You may have heard of him. I'm not sure. He's a really big internet guru. He's more on the elite end of things, but it's the same idea. They get a lot of business entrepreneurs together, and they share ideas, and they help each other grow their business. And he's just sort of the facilitator. But you're basically
how much does he charge?
Oh, his are way up on the. I've seen deals anywhere from like 500 to 50,000. Depending on what level. Yeah, and that's that's a totally different market. But it's the same concept.
Yeah.
But I really like the fact that you are helping small business owners and just regular everyday people. And it's uncertain the way the economy is going. I have to say, I don't know if you've looked at the statistics lately. I believe that back in the 50s, the percentage of the general population in America who were self-employed or had their own business was really high, like, I don't know, 40, 50% or something, way up there. And then post wartime, later in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it's much lower than that now. And I think we need to encourage more of that, independent minded small business ownership, because really that is the backbone of the country. And that's how we sort of get away from the robber barons, who own 90% of all business out there in these monopolies. Oh, there you go. What's this chart?
This is a chart I came up with, and it shows you back in 1980, it's wages. Who's getting the wages in our country? 1980, we had the red line is the bottom 90%. So back in 1980, the bottom 90% got 70% of all the wages. The top 10% got 30% of the wages. Now look what happened since 1980. From 70%, they went down to about 55%, but the top 10 went up to about 45%.
Yeah.
So the bottom 90% are losing. So their share of the pie is getting less and less every time. Now this is another thing. I wonder where New Zealand is, and I don't think. Why wouldn't they be on this list? I have most of these are the bottom. These are the list of the percentage of people that are in poverty in the developed countries, not in the underdeveloped. So my assumption, if they're not on this list, they're below 7%. But we're number one. Man, we did it. We're number one in creating poor people. We create the percentage of our population is creating more people than all the other developed countries.
That's just mind-blowing. The United States, like the center of production and creativity. And these are what you're showing too, are pointing to other statistics I've looked at that all point towards a shrinking middle class and a growing lower poverty class.
And people hate their jobs.
Right.
That's another thing for a small business. You wake up, you don't want to go to work today. Fuck it. You stay home. Instead of, my grandmother died again or whatever. Like, didn't do your homework. But what we do, we make more millionaires than anybody. And so we're number one in millionaires and number one in making poor people. Man.
Right.
How could that be? Yeah.
Well, we need more people like you helping to raise up that lower income class. And one of the ways you're doing it is pointing people towards how to get grants or loans that maybe aren't public knowledge for, like you say, starting a small business or for a first home purchase. What are probably the most popular requests or things that people are looking
it's
for?
Business and a debt. And both of them, if you go to Google, you'll be overwhelmed with people want money. But if you go to the Community Society, you could go, there's a database that the SBA, Small Business Administration, keeps that shows you all the free business mentors in your community. So you could go to sba.gov, and I think the problem is if you do it because you're out of the country, it may not work,
Right,
but if you want to try it, but SBA.gov and then /local-assistance. So people in the States, write that down. SBA.gov and then /local, LOCAL, -assistance. And you put in your zip code, no matter what zip code you're in, you'll find anywhere from 5 to 25 to 50 nonprofit organizations in your zip code that already got money, so you don't have to pay them a nickel, and they help you figure out how to start your business or grow any business or grow a nonprofit or grow an invention you have or be a real estate investor or just be a freelancer, give you marketing help, legal help, any kind of help you need, financial help, whatever. They'll help you find it and solve any problem you have. And they're free. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely free. And that's what's amazing.
Excellent.
So you have all these people who want to do this, and you go to Google and you get 2 billion websites, and you won't get out of there alive. And
yeah, filtering through that, finding them is the hard part, right?
Exactly. And
but
see, it's people.
What
I see now, it's not the internet. The internet is a little bit of help, but you can't put in, I need help doing this, because you just get everybody trying to get your money. But finding these in the community section of our economy, that there are people there to help you. And it's the same thing. Like there's another wonderful website. It's called it's called findhelp.org. 81. This is getting full of holes.
You're doing great, by the way. Still at it.
I saw Biden walking out of a plane the other day. Holy shit, do I look like that?
No way. Nowhere near, my friend.
And so if you go to findhelp.org, this is a database of only people who give you money. And it's a community thing that's run by the big nonprofits, and they get all the nonprofits in there to put their stuff in there. So if you go to any zip code, like in my zip code, I could put in my zip code, and I'll get maybe about 4,000 organizations in my zip code that help you for free or give you money for free for anything. You want to get a better job. You need a better house. You want a home repair. You need rent. You need health care. You need anything. Help with the kids. It's all there. And you put in, you just put in your idea. Like I'll put in rent in my zip code, and there'll be 70 organizations, nonprofits, that help you pay rent. 70. See, the other thing, people think, okay, well, I tried the government for rent, and they told me I'd make too much money, or they told me they don't have money, or something. Well, you have 69 other places to go.
Right.
And this is the problem. So it's trying to educate people about the abundance that is out there in this alternative source, and that you just can't try one alternative source and think that's all the alternative sources. It's sort of like, well, I called one company to get a job, and they said they don't have any, so I guess there are no jobs. No.
Right.
You can't do that. And that's what it is. And that's what we live on, a little information and misinformation.
Well, that's as a small business owner and working with other people who've wanted to start their own businesses too, when they, we talk about, how did you do it, or, what advice do you have? One of the things that I keep harkening back to is persistence. And, the story of Colonel Sanders, how many thousand times did he try to sell his chicken recipe before he found one restaurant that would take it on board, and, has become one of the most successful chains in American history. But he didn't give up the first time.
Right. Well, that's the key of everything. And that's why I think being smart, going to experts and finding out the best thing to do and all that. I mean, that's sort of not bad to do, but and it's certainly good to make sure you're not missing something obvious. But to me, you're right. I think what creates success is your heart. Yeah, that's right. That's what keeps you in the game. And if your heart is not there, you're going to quit, because everything you do in life is going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's what you're passionate about that makes it worthwhile.
Well, yeah, you'll get through the pain in the ass stuff. If you don't have that passion, you're not going to get through it. You're going to find another easy deal.
Yeah.
And it won't work. Then another easy one.
Yeah. And, another thing I like about what you're doing here is you're offering people a way out or a way up. as opposed to, the permanent welfare rolls. We have examples in the United States of third, fourth, and fifth generation welfare recipients because they've never known anything else or anything better. And you're offering hope to people with no capital, nothing to start from.
Absolutely. Not only capital, but it's even skills. I mean, right now, our country has more grant money to get you a $100,000 job without a degree that it's the biggest thing in our country. Nobody knows about it. Like right now, if you want to be, so many things. I mean, even a teacher. I mean, what they do if you want to be a teacher, they pay you for a couple of years to be an apprentice teacher, with just a high school education. So you get paid helping teachers while you take some courses too. And then all of a sudden you're a teacher making a good salary for the rest of your life.
Like on the job training.
Yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
But it's for everything. It's for healthcare. I mean, healthcare, we need people. Right now, I was just writing up a thing now in manufacturing. We're building factories now, but they're not like old-time steel factories like when I grew up. The kids who went into factories made $100,000 a year. It took me a long time before I got a degree to make that kind of money. But you could do that in these factories. But the factories now are making little chips or something, not heavy lifting.
The major industry has been shifted out of the country. And that, I won't go into the politics of that, but I have talked about that before and kind of, why that's happened. But the reality is that, it isn't there now. And I'm hopeful in this next administration, we may see some of that return that is yet to be seen. But you're definitely helping the entrepreneurs or the first home buyers. And I know a lot of this information is, U.S. based. Almost completely. However,
that's all I know.
But I'm really hoping that my non-U.S. listeners are paying attention too, because you're really coming up with some gems for entrepreneurs and small business minders, and just some of the mindset I think is important for people to take on board. So I hope they appreciate that as well. What sort of person or customer, I guess, is your sort of mainstay? Who do you see coming to you most for help?
I used to be just Fortune 500 companies. I didn't want to work for them anymore. I was sick of helping millionaires become billionaires. And there's so many people that need this that they're the ones I want to educate. I mean, helping people who don't need it is not fun in life. You want to feel a value. So like any business you start, I think what you have to remember is, you have to provide something that people need. So many people, when they want to start a business or have an idea, they think this is great for America. Everybody should have this. And we really don't know. I mean, the country is so big or society is so, because you like it doesn't mean everybody else will like it. And you have to make money on it to stay in business to do it.
Right. And that's the whole point of a free market, right? Let the market and the consumers will decide, what's good. But I think what is great for America is small business and people having the ability to, get a foothold and start their own business. Yeah.
And I think it's easier now than ever. I mean, I've been doing this for 50 years, and because you can start a business with $20. And there's so many ways now. Well, like even if you want to build a product, if you have a product, before you spend a nickel in doing anything about it, you could have a picture of it and start crowdfunding and to see if anybody wants this before you even start making it.
Right.
And if you can't find anybody who wants that, then you got to think of another idea. But instead of going and spending all this money building this stuff or whatever, and then say, this is going to save the world because I think it's great. And to me, being an entrepreneur, it's making love to customers, and it's loving people and making love to them. And if you're forcing it on them, and they don't want it, you want to love them. I don't want
it's not genuine. It's not.
You have to find out what their needs are, not what your needs are, and to make that match somehow. and make it like them. That's why that usually takes a while, and you have to go through iterations of what you want to do to figure out how to take what you want to get out there and what they want to pay for, basically what it is. And it may not be the same, but it can be if you massage it more and do it. So that's why you don't want to blow the whole farm on the first idea you have this. You want to get more feedback. And from feedback from customers that may be your customers. I mean, I used to do my ads and show them to my friends and family or whatever before I put them on TV. Then I realized, God, people I know never bought anything from TV. Why am I showing them?
Right. You're talking to the wrong demographic there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's crazy.
But obviously it's worked quite well for you over the years. You've been doing it, 50 years now?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's
one of the more surprising stories that you've had in this career path of, I don't know, in the terms of successful grants or things that really surprised you?
One of my surprise is Donald Trump made his first $1 million on the government grant.
Was that right? I
Absolutely.
I heard that he received his sort of starting capital from his dad. He'd given him like his first $1 million.
Yeah, it did. But then he got a grant from in Cincinnati. It was for real estate in Cincinnati. And his father was so good at that business too. And that's why he was always investigated by the government for getting too much grant money. Yeah, so he made his fortune on government grants. That's why all these rich people say all this stuff, and they're all using government grants. Yeah. Wow. Tesla guy, he gets billions of government.
Oh yeah, I know Elon Musk is. Yeah.
Right.
He's cooperated with the government. Well, look at SpaceX and all he's doing now. But
exactly.
I'd like to think that he's also contributed a lot to the public good. Well, as a matter of fact, we're talking over Starlink right now.
Oh, really? How cool.
Yeah, we couldn't get internet out rurally where we are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't have there's no such thing as broadband out in the cities where we're at yet. And,
well, you seem like pretty good service wherever you are. So that's.
Yeah, it's better actually than what we had as broadband when we were in Seattle. So I've been quite impressed by it.
I'm looking for I compile lists every day. I do 4 or 5. $14,000 grant for home repairs, or $50,000 for low-income entrepreneurs to start a business with no collateral or just out of jail. Hi, this is for you.
Wow.
You could be. It's really set aside for people, ex-felons, to start a business.
Wow.
Or $150 million in overdraft fees. The government will fight your bank for you for free when they do overdraft fees. Yeah.
Wow.
Or, $800 a year on prescription drugs, or forgiveness of $200,000 in student loans. Or here, get $50,000 or $3 million for your business idea. Like here, $3 million to create a business that hires 15 jobs. So you got a business.
15 jobs.
Yeah, in Iowa, $3 million for that. Or here, $50,000 to build a prototype invention. $100,000 to develop a new product for truckers. I don't know why we're interested in truckers, but we are.
Wow. Well, they do kind of. They're what moves
exactly
across the country. I mean,
we need that.
We need them.
$100,000 to develop a plant-based protein product. I mean, it's opportunities that are out there that. And there's so many, and I mean, it's millions, and they're all local, things like that. So you have to learn to use the system and find out what is in your area. And you don't do that by using Google.
Right. So for the people who are in the U.S. who are interested in learning more about this, and people maybe outside the U.S., you could learn something from this too. And
well, you could be somewhere else and start a business. You don't have to be a citizen. You want to start a business in the U.S., come here, have a business. They'll help you give you money and do that.
Yeah, I mean, we do have foreign investors. That's been known for a long time. And sure, I mean, if anything that contributes to the U.S. economy.
Right.
So the list that you were just reading off is, where would somebody go to find more of that?
Well, again, it would be like anything like business. The best place to do is that sba.gov/local assistance and
Okay.
start looking locally, because that will be at state government, city government, nonprofit organizations in every city and county. They all want small businesses to survive.
Right.
And that's what it's about. Even in rural areas. I just came back from a small town up in Upper Maryland. My son lives in there, and they just got like downtown businesses. Just got like, I don't know, like looks like $100 million to build up new stores there for their businesses to look better, and grants to pay rent and free rent. So to start a business, you get free rent because they need more people to rent. Since the COVID, a lot of businesses quit. So to attract more businesses, you get rent free for a year or two.
Wow.
Stuff like
Fantastic.
this. So there's so many opportunities like that.
Yeah, some amazing opportunities. So in the time we have left, Matthew, I really want to make sure that we direct people to the right place. Where can they learn more about what you're doing? And
it's leskohelp.com.
Leskohelp.com.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the community, $20 a month. And what we also do, I mean, people say I'd never make a profit of $20. We make so much profit, we give 40% of our sales back to members. So if we have profit, we give it back to members in grants. So we give out our own grant, $70,000 a month.
You started your own grant lending and loan or grant giving opportunities. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Well, what else we don't do the profit? I mean, we pay ourselves first, and then if we have profit, like we give it back to the members. Yeah, because they're the ones that are giving us $20, so they should get profit.
Wow.
Back.
Hey, that's fantastic.
I mean, that's the proudest thing I have, at least for myself. I don't know what other people think, but I always thought I'd have to be Jeff Bezos or something like that to be able to do this. But oh man, and it's just fun to see that, because what I call what we do is a loving community. And that's what I'm really into now is loving people. I mean, that's what we forget about doing, and helping people through love. And that's why all our members that are helping others, they see the joy in helping people. They understand it. That's why I do this. It's mainly very selfish, because I know if I could give you a phone number or a website that helps you solve a problem, man, I just feel great. I mean, that's selfish. Yeah. We all want to help people, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what businesses should be, helping people, but they have to be profitable too. So that's why I said, well, if we're profitable, we give the money back to the people who support us, and they're the customers.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I wish that we have that same sort of mentality in larger corporations, but I think at some point when a business becomes too large, it loses its, as you say, its heart and its conscience, and there's it lacks the accountability. They're only accountable to like faceless, nameless shareholders,
investors, right? Exactly.
And the only purpose is profit rather than solving people's needs or problems,
right?
And again, that's why I'm so supportive of small business. And
there's a data point I saw the other day. Facebook just came out with a grant. They're giving out $100 million to small businesses. And I looked at their sales. Yeah, I looked at their sales. I mean, that sounds impressive, doesn't it? And they look at their sales. They make $140 billion a year. $140 billion. They're giving out $100 million. That represents 0.007% of their sales. We're giving 40% of our sales.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. F you, Facebook.
A small business is giving 40%, and this big conglomerate, and it's a publicity stunt for them. They'll get $100 million worth of publicity because they're
right. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Good on you, Matthew. I really enjoyed this talk, and I'd like to maybe have you back on again in the future. I appreciate your positive energy, because so much of the news these days has been negative, and a lot of the headlines we've been talking about here are just it's not always good news. So this offers people some hope and something to look forward to, especially those people that are looking for that financial help or entrepreneurs who have an idea that they'd like to get out there. go check out Matthew's website. It's leskohelp.com. Is that right?
You got it. Yes, sir.
Leskohelp.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, Matthew, it's been fantastic talking to you, and good to finally talk to you in person after all these years of seeing you on TV, man. That's great.
Still me. Now, if you want to do it again, I only have about 10, 12 years left, so don't wait too long.
Don't wait too long. You're doing great. And and as you say, and as I've said on this podcast, be good, do the right thing, and keep asking questions.
You bet.
All right. Take care.
Did you know that Federal Express, Nike shoes, and even H. Ross Perot have made their millions using government money programs, and you can too. I'm Matthew Lesko. My new book shows you 15,000 programs that you could use to get a better job, get an education, or start your own business. Those who know about the programs are the ones who get the money.
I was able to get money to buy equipment for my business and also a microloan.
The government gave me money to live on for 6 months while I started my own business.
I want every taxpayer to know you can get $100,000 to open up a coffee shop, or $15,000 to write a novel. You can also get $9,000 to take a computer course, or get a GED, or a PhD.
If I could get $15,000 to go back to school, any woman could do it.
Doing what you want to do in life is like being on vacation every single day. Now, I'll show you how to get the government to pay for it. So call me.
Call 1-800-633-9100 for only $37.95. Money back if not completely satisfied.